We're now getting a CNN News 18 mega exclusive as we are learning that Nepal Maoists want to lead the country. The Maoist party led by Prachanda wants to unite 8 communist parties. Formal announcement is likely to take place today, and as per top intel sources, they are calling it West versus China in Nepal. China is quietly mediating among various left factions in Nepal to rebuild the United Communist Front. The objective is to restore a pro-China, anti-West alignment in Nepal's political system. So upheaval doesn't stop in Nepal, but what does this mean for India? Is this more trouble for India is the big question as these details are emerging, and that formal announcement will be made in all likelihood today. My colleague Siddhant Mishra is joining us to have a better perspective on this breaking piece of information that we have for our viewers on CNN News 18. Siddhant?
Well, that's right. So Manoj is bringing this input for us. Now, Nepal Maoists want to lead the country. Maoist party led by Prachanda wants to unite 8 communist parties today. Formal announcement soon. Chinese agenda to make communists powerful, to make their footprint. This will be West versus China in Nepal. Beijing is doing major political engineering in Kathmandu. Top intel sources tell this to Manoj Gupta. In fact, China is quietly competing among various left factions in Nepal to rebuild United Communist Front. The same attempt brought Prachanda and Oli together in 2018. The objective is to restore a pro-China, anti-West alignment in Nepal's political system. This will counterbalance recent U.S. influence through Millennium Challenge Corporation projects. A unified left bloc led by Prachanda will give China stronger control over Nepal's political decisions. China wants control on border issues, Belt and Road projects, and the handling of Tibetan refugees. Intelligence inputs also suggest Chinese envoys are actively engaging Maoist leaders, with the US, India, and European nations pushing for democratic stability and transparency. This is going to be West versus China in Nepal. China wants consensus in everything in Nepal, and including party control, as Sushila Karki, totally driven by West, with her 2 advisors, Ajay Badrak Kanal and Govinda Narayan Similsen. According to sources, a strong Maoist left bloc is going to tilt policy decisions. So, in fact, this used to be the scenario before also in Nepal, Deha. In fact, the Communist Party unite and then they form the government, people with the same ideology. In fact, this entire protest was against these political parties. And as far as the Prachanda is concerned, perhaps the time when protests broke out on the streets of Kathmandu, he was the one person who was missing from the scene. He was nowhere to be seen at that point in time. No protesters could find him, and he was completely, safe at that point in time. Where on the other end, the other sitting ministers, politicians, MPs, their houses were attacked. They were attacked. So Prachanda has been playing very smartly from the very beginning since the Gen Z protest. In fact, at that point in time also, he never made any provocative statements to hurt the sentiments of the Gen Z. Since now there is a window to come together to again restart his political innings, and perhaps this is the reason that with the China backing, Prachanda is definitely want to unite all the political parties and create the same kind of collision, same kind of alignment in Nepal, perhaps against which the Gen Zs protested in September and brought down the Oli government.
So Siddhant, as far as the India perspective goes, this is twin worry. On the one hand, it already needs to look at Bangladesh and how there is a growing influence of both Pakistan and China there. We have already seen the skewed India map that was presented to a Pakistani general there in Bangladesh, and now something similar is getting unfolded in Nepal with ample amount of Chinese influence. What does this mean for India?
Well, look, India is right now batting on India's credibility in Nepal because of growing Chinese influence. And even people there have also understood. In fact, I was in Nepal and I did speak to many opinion makers, people at large. They find India a credible partner and friend. In fact, if you remember, ahead of swearing-in ceremony, Sushila Karki spoke to Anand Narasimhan, and in fact, in that conversation, she said that I have huge respect for Indians and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So when it comes to credibility, perhaps that is the strong point for India in Nepal, and India has never been interfering in the political spectrum, playing around with the political parties. That has never been the India's case. Where on the other end, people blame Western influence for the Gen Z protests, then China over the existing political parties dominating them, asking them to work according to the Chinese interests, things like that. So as far as India's, definitely India has its own interest in Nepal, and India never wants Nepal to go China way or to go America way. But definitely the credibility is something which plays in India's favor, and perhaps this time around also India is playing neutral. India is speaking to all political parties. In fact, India is also engaging with the interim government. There have been recent MOU also which have been signed between the interim government and India as far as the power transmission is concerned. So India believes in developmental works, India believes in humanitarian assistance, India believes in being the first responder in times of crisis, and India believes in helping the people of Nepal, people-to-people ties, cultural connect. So those are the strong areas for India, and perhaps that is what makes India strong. The sentiment for the Indian government is strong in Nepal.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Siddhant. We'll